Nobody gets it like I do. I genuinely felt maternal watching this. They had a whole phone smexx thing going on right after that. Hey y'all. So you may have heard of this little show called Heated Rivalry, and if you have, then I assume that's why you're watching this video. So with that being said, today I wanted to talk about my take on Heated Rivalry as somebody who has read the book. Now, I've seen a lot of TikToks and Instagram reels about people talking about small differences that they noticed between the book and the TV series. However, today I wanted to put everything from all 6 episodes into one video. And these are things that me personally, as a book reader, wish that the TV series added, left out, emphasized on everything. And so for a little bit of background, I watched the first 2 episodes when they aired. I watched them twice because they were so good. And then I proceeded to read the whole book in a day and a half, and then continued watching episodes 3 through 6 as they came out weekly. And I'm not going to be going over every little small detail of everything that's different, everything that's new, everything that's they left out. I'm just going to talk about the main points that I personally as a book reader wanted to talk about. Okay, so now let's get started with my review of episodes 1 and 2.
I'm not sure you're supposed to smoke here. Okay.
So I feel that in episodes 1 and 2 specifically, when the rivalry is first starting, when Shane and Ilya are just 2 young men in this competitive sport, the actors are able to execute this dynamic perfectly. This back and forth, this no, me, you, and the comedic timing is just unmatched. My favorite line would have to be, "What color?" That should kill me the first time I heard it. It was so perfect. Because reading it in the book in our own mind, we're not able to execute the that they're able to do with each other like they do in the show. And the actors themselves just had amazing chemistry. They were able to execute and display these feelings of lust and desire so well, so early on in the series. However, my biggest pet peeve with these 2 episodes is that I feel that they didn't show equal yearning on both sides like it is in the book. So the book is written in 3rd person, but we get dual POV. So we get Shane's side of things and Ilya's side of things. I would say it's more like 60-40 Shane to Ilya. There's a little bit more Shane in there. But regardless, we do get to see both of them a good amount. But however, in the TV series, I feel that it's very leaning towards Shane's side. So rather than a Shane and Ilya story, it's more of Shane's story. And I can understand this to a certain amount because I understand that Ilya is a very walled off, closed off person in the beginning specifically. So lots of the emotions and things that he's feeling, we're learning from his inner thoughts and inner dialogue, which obviously we can't have in a TV show. However, I do feel like there are equal ways they could have shown the yearning on both sides. For example, the kiss on the staircase. So in this scene, they're in Shane's apartment in Montreal after they just finished doing what they did. And they're sitting on the staircase. Well, Shane is sitting on the staircase as they wait for Ilya's cab, and Ilya gives him a couple kisses and walks off. And then we get this shot of Shane sitting there, kind of just looking at Ilya as he walks off into the distance. However, in the book, after Ilya gives Shane his kisses, we actually get Ilya's POV of him walking to the cab. And as the cab drives away, he sort of just looks out the window and he just thinks about Shane and just starts smiling and laughing to himself. Like, that's so cute and wholesome, and we don't get to see that at all. We don't get to see a lot of these more Ilya-centered moments. And so I'm sort of curious of why the writer and director for the series, Jacob Turney, decided to do this. And I do have a bit of a theory. So I wonder if the reason for doing this, the reason for giving us these Shane POVs of him looking at Ilya, is to sort of make us feel the pain, dissatisfaction, the unrequited love and yearning, the solo yearning that comes from being stuck in this cycle of hookups and knowing that you're unable to share how you actually feel with the person you like because of the stigma and also the fear of rejection. The fear of the person rejecting you because you're both in the closet and you both know the risks that come with having this relationship out. And also just not knowing if the other person likes you back like that. So there's sort of a lot of emotions that come with it that get piled up that I understand why they did it. But at the same time, I feel like knowing that both of them like each other and are unable to share their feelings gives it a sort of different feeling that the book gave us. So yes, that's my theory. But nonetheless, let's move on to episode 3. And now here comes the controversial question of, was it worth giving Scott and Kip their own episode in this already short 6-episode series? In my opinion, no. But I do understand why they did it, and I still want to talk about it. So I personally haven't read Game Changers, but I've heard from the people who have via social media, and lots of them say that it's just a very generic romance book. They say that unfortunately the characters don't have much substance, and it's just sort of a meet cute, fall in love, have a couple of problems, but figure it out kind of story, which is fine, and some people love it. But I feel that more people who have read romance books, who read romance books, who watch romance shows, we get the gist. And it's not that entertaining for us who have seen this 500 times already. And the reason why I don't think that they should get their whole episode isn't because I don't think it's a super interesting plot line, but because we miss out on so much more of Shane and Ilya due to the fact that they had their own episode and we already have a limited runtime. So yeah, I think that we sacrifice a lot of small details of Shane and Ilya's relationship, more scenes we could have had with them because they got their own episode. But I think I do understand why they decided to give them their own episode. I have a bit of another theory. I feel that Skip is meant to sort of set an example for what a normal and happy relationship should look like, for what Shane and Ilya could have, and what they could be striving for if there was no rivalry and hooking up wasn't the only option for them. So yes, it was not my favorite episode, unfortunately, but I will say I did love that they added in Scott knowing about Shane and Ilya. I think, for lack of a better word, it was really fun to see all the cute little scenes. Cute is a word. The fun scenes that they added in because of it. So now let's get ready to talk about episode 4.
Well, I like the hot places too. Hot, like weather hot.
Oh, okay. LA is hot. Hot women.
Starting at episode 4, it becomes very apparent to me about all the things that they cut out due to runtime's sake. So let's start out with my biggest problem for this episode. My biggest thing that I'm upset that they decided to leave out. I've heard one person talk about this, and nobody gets it like I do. It's the freaking ginger ale. This ginger ale plays such an important part to me that I'm so upset that they decided to leave this out. So in the TV series, we have the scene where they're at Ilya's Boston house, and Ilya makes tuna melts for them, and he gets a ginger ale for Shane. He gives it to Shane. He's like, "Is it cold enough?" in his fucking Russian accent. Shane's like, "Yeah." And then they move on. And it's a cute little gesture, right? He's just getting him a ginger ale, right? Wrong. Because in the book, Ilya asks Shane about his ginger ale. Not 1, not 2, but 3 freaking times. 3 times this man asks, "Oh, you like ginger ale? Oh, is it cold enough? Blah, blah, blah." And it comes to the point where Shane's like, damn, it's really important to him that I like and take this ginger ale. And it's only after the fact that Shane says for the last time that it's cold enough that Ilya finally has that pleased look on his face. It seems that he's pleased with himself, not only because he was able to pick out something good, he did the job right, but because Shane looks pleased and seems pleased. And I feel that this adds so much to their dynamic because it shows that Ilya is changing and growing. He's doing things purposely and putting an effort in for Shane. And Shane is picking up on that, and he's noticing it and he's digesting it as their relationship goes on. Also one of the reasons why Shane freaks out later. But I just feel like small things like this, small moments like this, where this scene would take an extra, 10 seconds? But we decide not to add it in. It makes me upset because it can do so much for a show, but they decide to cut it. And I guess I say that it's only a 10-second scene, what would it hurt to add? But at the end of the day, I'm not a writer or director, so everything I say, yeah. But I digress. And then we get to the club scene. And this whole scene was so well executed. It's quite literally everything I envisioned in my head when reading the book. I'm talking the lights, I'm talking the angles, the way they're able to see each other in the club and the zoom in. They did everything perfectly. The only thing I want to talk about is Miles and what his deal was, because in the book, it's like Shane and Rose dancing with each other, and then like Shane sees Miles a bit far away and they just make eye contact. But he was all up on Shane on that show, and I personally was a little bit uncomfortable, but yeah. But other than that, everything was beautiful, and all the things she said is on repeat in my club playlist. So with that, let's move on to episode 5.
Great pass. Where'd I go?
I mean, we all know how great this episode was as a whole, but if I can't be greedy, I wish that they would have let us sit in those sweet moments just a little bit longer, because we're already missing that internal dialogue, those feelings. We went through so many different parts and scenes in this episode that I was starved for some more affection. And, we could have taken a couple moments out of Scott and Kip's episode and given it to Shane and Ilya, but, like the scene where they're holding each other when Ilya's crying is just so sweet yet sad at the same time. And the glasses scene, book readers know, but for people who didn't read the book, they had a whole phone smexx thing going on right after that they just cut out completely, which, like, I get wanting to leave the episode wholesome this time, but y'all are missing out. But yeah, I did want to say this episode specifically is when it feels like the most was taken out. All these like other small conversations they have, these other scenes that they have, they just, had to ditch completely, unfortunately. Another thing I'm sad that they decided not to keep in was, I believe it was the phone call after Ilya told Shane that his father had passed. Shane tells him on the phone that he actually made a donation to the Alzheimer's Society of Canada in his father's name for his father. It's those things I want to see, how their relationship is finally coming full circle. It's just, I'm sad that they miss out on it. But then we get to not arguably in my opinion, one of the best TV monologues in history, because Connor's story quite literally changed my brain chemistry after watching this scene. Like, do we understand how hard it is to go into this role having to learn a brand new language, get the script and learn and memorize it in a different language, and then being able to act out, dictate your words, give emotion, master all the pauses and everything you're supposed to do in this 5-minute long scene perfectly? Because honestly, I don't understand how he did it. It's amazing. Pure talent and skill combined. That is him in this monologue. So I'm gonna just have to leave that there. Just let that sit. My last thing about this episode. Holy Lord Almighty. If that little watery smoothie boy, that short ass boy, don't get his butt down to that ice rink any faster, I was gonna lose it. And I know, as a book reader, I know what's gonna happen next. But sitting there was pure torture for me, because why did it take him a full minute and how long is that scene? A minute and a half, minute and 15 seconds, whatever, to just walk down the stairs? That boy was over here like, he's pointing right at you. Scott literally points right at him and goes, but he still don't get the kill. And I also feel like after seeing other people react to this, I did watch the series with my friends, seeing them react to it, but that initial excitement, that initial anticipation was gone by 30 seconds in. Them dragging out that scene, it lost that. It lost that anticipation, that feeling. But regardless, it was still great to see, and I love the I'm Coming to the Cottage remix, personally. And speaking of the cottage...
Well, I'm gonna be Boston.
Good choice.
I'm gonna kill you.
I am you.
No, you're not anything.
I'm on the cover of the game.
We made it to the cottage! Hey! This episode felt like we were in Obama's America again. This episode felt like it was a Black Friday, everything was 50% off, and I'm the only one in the store. This episode felt like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit decided to rain grace upon us. Because this episode was everything, quite literally. This was one of the most well-shot, full-length episodes I've seen in TV history. There was not a single scene where I thought, oh, I wish they would have done this differently. Oh, if only the lighting was a little bit like that. None of that. None of it. And I personally am a big one for aesthetic, so it's just amazing to see how well they were able to execute everything in this episode. And I mean, they did leave things out of this episode, of course. In the book is split into 4 parts, and the whole 4th part, which I believe is like 5 chapters, is all just them being at the cottage. So to put 4 or 5 chapters into one episode is hard, but they did get all the main points down, so I'll give them that. And the main thing I wanted to talk about with this episode is not actually the thing that they left out, but the thing that they added in, which is the talk with Shane and his mother Yuna. Now, this scene was not at all in the book, but it was amazing in the TV show. It was, in my opinion, the best change that they decided to make, because it just adds so much. The first thing that Shane says being, "I really did try, but I can't help it." My Shayla, my Shayla. I genuinely felt maternal watching this. I needed to heal his inner child. I needed to give him a big fat hug, okay? Because it's so sad to hear that, but it's also so reassuring when his mother says, "You have nothing to be sorry for." Because me personally, I've never had to come out to any family, but I have had those hard one-on-one talks with them where the only thing you want to hear is, "Don't feel sorry, don't feel bad, I accept you, nothing changes between us." And to finally get that, to finally hear that, you can only imagine how much weight must have been taken off his shoulders. And it's those feelings, those emotions, as well as acknowledging the courage Shane had to work up and be able to admit to his feelings, that's so admirable and so human. It's so nice to finally see him being accepted. And it also gives us more closure for this episode, in my opinion. Because like I said, the scene is not in the book, and the book ends off where the show ends off, with them driving back from the cottage. So that's not much of an ending. Obviously, there's a second book, and obviously they decided not to put the epilogue in the TV show. So adding this scene in gives us some resolve, some relief that one part of Shane's life has come to an end. The part of hiding from his family, that chapter is closed. And I think that it better shapes the ending of this season. So props to the writers and this amazing script. It was a great decision made. So my final thoughts on this series, as many qualms as I have, as many things I talk about that I wish that they added in, I can't say that the series is anything less than amazing. I mean, they quite literally had good actors, nice cameras, 6 Airbnbs and a dream, and they were able to execute it so well, so much better than probably any American company ever could. And I personally have fallen in love with these characters and these actors as well. They're such good people, and the way they're able to handle anything from the press, red carpets, interviews, it's all just great to see. And they're doing so much for this community, the way they're able to speak about experiences they've had, what they've learned from this experience. I think it's really helping to better define what queer media can be, as well as reducing the stigma and homophobia we see not only in media and sports, but also just in everyday life. I mean, everyday people are talking about this show. It's great to see everything come full circle, and I hope that, and I know that this will open up more doors for more media in the future. And if you haven't read Heated Rivalry, the book yet, I highly recommend doing so. If you don't want to read the whole thing, I recommend reading after 2016 starts. For me, like the first 11 chapters where we're going through all the time jumps and stuff is a little bit confusing, but I think that Rachel Reed, the author, is able to portray and express the characters' emotions and feelings really well in the later chapters. And she also does give us a bit of fan service. It's a good read. Overall, I would have to give it an 8.5 out of 10, so if you have time, pick it up. And as for the TV show, I feel like it wouldn't be fair to give it anything less than a 9.5 out of 10, because as much as I have many qualms with the show, I can't say that it was anything less than graceful, respectful, and revolutionary in its own way. We couldn't have asked for a better cast to represent the show and a better staff of writers, directors, and whatnot of people to create the show. All the things that I don't like about show are nothing in the full context of everything that it's done for everything and everyone. So yeah, please let me know your thoughts on this video. If you're also a book and TV show reader, or you've just done one or the other, let me know if there's anything you think I left out, any points you think were really important to the story that they may have missed out on, or anything you dislike that they did add in. And yeah, I hope to see y'all again after season 2. Bye!